Could be cold, dark place with limited visibility, or place that is warm, bright, and full of life. Most people experience scuba diving from the comfort of their own home, sitting on their couch. Some are too nervous to try it. Some people just think that human beings have no business being underwater. I'm going to explain to you how to mentally, physically prepare yourself for a scuba dive, and how to prepare your dive gear and pre-dive planning. SCUBA stands for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus. There are several different dive agencies around the world that you can get hundreds of certifications through, but every agency, even though they teach differently, has one thing in common. Everybody starts out as a cow, or a common open water diver. I've been diving for over a decade, and I also started out as a cow. I now have logged several hundred dives, hold over 20 different certifications in open water and technical diving, and I teach and work through adventure diving in West Des Moines, Iowa under the Scuba Diving International Technical Diving International Agency. Scuba diving is a recreational sport that is very relaxing, very fun, and rewarding to those that are lucky enough to be able to go out and do it. Some of the key things about scuba diving is health. Health is very important, and it's a very key thing to having a good scuba diving experience. You want to start out before a dive with hydration and nutrition. These things are very important, and people take advantage of them. You should probably start drinking water the night before a dive. The day of, keep drinking water until you are in the water ready to go. Don't drink the lake water. You should want to eat bananas, peaches, oranges, plums, jerky. Those are things that give you energy and help with the hydration process. A couple tricks that I've learned throughout the years to help with clearing ears and clearing your sinuses is take Sudafed a couple hours before. If you want to stay away from the drugs like Sudafed, and stay natural, you can use papaya enzyme and suck on those throughout the morning. And that'll also help clear your sinuses. According to the European Journal of Applied Physiology, a brisk workout before going scuba diving really helps reduce nitrogen bubbles in the blood, which is what causes the bends or decompression sickness. A good night's sleep really helps. It's going to help you have a clear head. You're going to be thinking good and going to be on the ball, and you're going to pay more attention to detail when it comes time to do your pre-dive things that you want to do, inspections and whatnot. Safety should always be the #1 priority in scuba diving. Second priority is have fun. Lots of fun. And some people take that to advantage because scuba diving is relaxing and fun, but it's just like in everyday life. If you don't prepare yourself and you don't go through things, then things can happen, and you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Starting out, when you pick up your tanks at the scuba shop, you always want to check the tank for the inspection numbers that are going to be imprinted on the tank to make sure your tank is up to date. And also, if you're a certified nitrox diver, you want to make sure that you've got this nitrox placard on the tank. When diving nitrox, it's a safer gas to dive, but it's also really minimizes the depths that you can dive down to. According to the SDI Open Water Manual by Scuba Diving International, oxygen is very important for the brain. Your brain does not function without oxygen. But when you're down scuba diving under pressure, the more oxygen that you have in your system, the deeper you go, can actually be bad for you. And you run the risk of oxygen toxicity, which can cause you to go into convulsions, and not a good thing, and more than likely possibly death. Diving in Iowa it's cold water, it's murky water usually, and you want to be prepared for that. A 7 mil neoprene wetsuit is usually sufficient for Iowa unless it's really, really cold. And if you're certified, you can use a dry suit. You always want to have gloves, hood, booties, fins, mask, regulators, buoyancy compensator, and your computer. Oh, and weights. You don't want to forget weights. It's very embarrassing when you show up to a dive and you don't have weights or any other gear and you've got to sit there and watch everybody go have fun. Not so fun. During your inspections, when you're putting all your gear in the bag the night before to go diving, you want to check your zippers, make sure they're all zipping fine, nothing's coming apart. Check all the threading, make sure that's all good. Your neoprene, make sure it's not worn thin or there's any tears in it. The dive plan that you'll want to go through with your dive buddy before the dive, you want to talk about what your maximum depth might be, the direction you may go in when you're diving, when you might want to turn around, how long the dive might be, and God forbid something happens, you want to have a bailout plan. It's very important that you and your dive buddy are always on the same page and respect each other's decisions and boundaries. When putting your gear together, you want to wet down the straps before you put it on the tank. Makes the straps tighten down better. Hook up your regulators, check your air pressure, make sure you have enough air, check your computer, your batteries, make sure your batteries aren't low, so that holds all of your information. You don't want to lose out in the middle of a dive. Breathe out of your regulators, make sure that they're breathing fine. Always help your buddy suit up. The gear that you put on weighs 100 plus pounds top side, so you don't want to be hurting yourself, throwing your back out. When you're diving, you're underwater, that stuff is virtually, you're weightless. When you get in the water, you want to air up your BC and go underneath, make sure that there's no air bubbles coming out anywhere and that there's no air leaks, which is obviously not a good thing if you have an air leak. Now that you have prepared yourself mentally and physically, you've inspected your gear, you've went through your dive plan, now it's time to go have fun. Priority number 2. We've gone over several different ways to prepare yourself mentally and physically, how to inspect your gear, and how to talk to your buddy and make a dive plan. Good health, the right training, and a lot of work goes through scuba diving, getting ready, and it may seem a little scary, again, may seem like a lot of work, but the juice is definitely worth the squeeze. You're going to experience things that most people are only going to see from the comfort of their home on Discovery Channel. Practice makes perfect. In the tech diving world, we have a slogan that we use, DIR, be DIR, or do it right. No exception, whether you're a tech diver or you're a common open water diver, you want to follow all the procedures and do it right. If you do it right, you're always going to succeed. When people ask me what it's like to go scuba diving, about the best way I can explain it is the coral is so vibrant and colorful. It looks like somebody took every known color to man and splattered it all over the coral. You're down there with just your thoughts and you hear your own breathing and the fish eating, and it's very relaxing, very peaceful. And to me, that is my sanctuary and place that I like to go to. Thank you.